because today, I would like to start with Namaste because today we are discussing on gestures, and Namaste is one of the most widely known gestures. Actually, in my class with my students, we already had a conversation between which one is correct, Namaskar or Namaste. And I'm just telling like how these both are used and more or less mean the same thing. Without going in a depth between how the new meanings are invented, mostly in the yoga community in the West, and how this Namaste is used in India from the spiritual context to secular context. The gesture, I'm only interested in the hand gesture of how our gestures are always primary to our conversation. Shaking a hand, for example, a gesture of bending our eyes or kneeling, or when I went to Japan, my friends told me that every store you go to, you do not necessarily need to, bend your head much because, like people here are very polite and express that way. But then when they, of course, bend once, greet like that, and then I would like to bend, and then the more you bend, the more they bend back. I didn't know about it. I feel like I don't mean to go on a competition with bending. Many years ago, His Holiness Dalai Lama came to San Diego, and my students were eager to listen to his talk. And when they came back, I asked them, what did they like the most? You know what my students said? I was not dismayed, but it's just funny to note that, oh, I love the way he moved his hat. Oh, I love the way he smiles. I love his jokes. Actually, I was looking for maybe more deep content, but no. Our human-to-human relationship is primary to our conversation. And our human-to-human relationship is not necessarily built by our language, but through our gestures. And when many years back, when I went to learn in a Kalachakra ceremony with Dalai Lama, he taught me this particular gesture. If I was physically there, I would have made everybody learn this gesture. This is called Mount Meru Mudra, Mount Meru gesture. In Tantra, some gestures are really complicated, but most gestures are universal, like, protection type gestures, or giving, the gesture of giving, or sometimes we can even have just a physical expressions, somatic expressions, meaning something like, oh, he looks so sad, he looks angry. Some of the gestures express our emotions. So what I'm interested today is to see if we can revisit the philosophy of language. The goal is much bigger, and I'm going to bore you to death because I'm going to talk on philosophy. But my intention is to see if the dichotomy we have given from like a structural understanding, Ferdinand de Saussure, or all the way even Jacques Derrida, what we have is when we think of language, we have the sign reference dichotomy very well established. And then I'm trying to bring to your attention some of the texts like Mahartha Manjari, Yogini Hridaya. These are tantric texts. They discuss extensively on gestural language. And then I'm going to read one particular keyword called sanketa, suggestion, which is used for gestures, physical gestures. But sanketa can be also used for like when you see the clouds and you infer like rain, and that is also sanketa. And sanketa can be physical symptoms for when some particular symptoms are expressed, then you infer particular disease. So sanketa is a very wide category, and these mudras address broadly the sanketa, and I'm trying to go beyond contemporary meaning theory. And in this context, I will relate to some of the contemporary theories in the West on phenomenology and embodiment, maybe some of the concepts I may have derived from Merleau-Ponty, And so I want to read part of my paper, and I didn't write it. So that part you have to forgive me. I didn't write something new. Many of the conversations are extracted from two papers I have published in the last year. Can representation be transformative? Resemblance, Suggestion, and Metaphor in Tantric Meditation, published in Philosophy East and West, and Language of Gestures, Mudra, Mirror, and Meaning in Shakta Philosophy, in the journal Religions.